Hello everyone, I'm Shiro and welcome to Dragon Ball Xenoverse. The reason I'm doing this video and not something you'd be more used to is that I've been watching Dragon Ball Super recently. I caught up with it since I came back from being in Canada, and there's been a lot of hate about the animation and about that how it doesn't look as good as people were hoping, and I just kind of want to give my own thoughts on that and why that is, and you know, what I think about it, and just kind of explain it a little bit, because I can kind of understand why people don't like it, because obviously it's Dragon Ball. People have been looking forward to this series for years. They wanted it to be as good as possible, and it's, you know, kind of looked a bit poor recently. But I don't honestly think it's that bad. Like, it's an animation. You have to realize that. And if you pause an animation on any random frame, there's a chance it's going to look pretty derpy. I mean, it's only really the key frames of any animation ever that have purely kind of, you know, well-drawn, perfectly precise artwork. And the normal ones, the normal frames, every other frame in between, it doesn't. It just has various different transitions and quick movement and stuff, which is what's needed to make an animation look smooth. And that's what Dragon Ball Super is. Obviously, the fight recently, the main reason people are moaning is because there was a fight with Goku and Beerus on King Kai's planet, and it looked kind of a bit weird. Like, the art was a little bit off. But that's literally simply because it looked like it was moving so fast that it looked a bit kind of off. Like, the drawings, it seemed like the animators couldn't keep up with the actual movement. So there would be scenes where Goku's face was a little bit kind of derpy looking, and people were pausing it on random frames and saying, look, the whole animation looks terrible. And it's like, no. Like, any animation looks like that. Especially something from Toei, because Toei Animation do really long series, like One Piece, and Dragon Ball Super isn't going to be short. It's going to go on for a long time, and there's going to be a lot of kind of awesome fights coming up in the future. And what Toei definitely almost always do is they start with a kind of normal, average style, and then when they're getting into the lead up to a large event, they go into a more kind of raw-looking style that isn't quite as good as what we've been used to so far. And then when it's like a really big, amazing event, they make it look absolutely gorgeous, and it's really well animated. The biggest example of this would be One Piece, whereas like there are whole arcs where the characters look like fucking potatoes, and then there are some which look absolutely amazing. And that's what people are moaning about. They're looking about how they've kind of lowered it a bit, like a tiny amount, and yet because of that, people are so angry because they've seen people make a few stills from the actual show, and they've been like, oh no, this looks horrible, I don't like this. And it's like, no, it doesn't look horrible, it looks normal. It's just because people have put scenes on Facebook and on other social media and you've noticed them, that it looks off, because you wouldn't really notice it otherwise. But because people tell you about it, then you're more aware of it, and then suddenly you jump on the bandwagon thinking, oh, the whole show is completely crap, let's make them change it. And like, no, they're doing animation, they're doing their job is fine, it doesn't look that bad. It's just that a lot of people are just saying, oh, his face looks a bit weird there. Yeah, because it's one frame out of thousands per episode that they have to do on a regular basis. It's really hard work. It's like, it's allowed to have like a couple weird looking frames in a fight. I mean, that's how animation works. You have like keyframes which look like the actual character, which are the main visible things, and then if you pause it in between that, it looks odd. And there's nothing to be like angry or upset about, because that's literally any animation. People are saying, oh, original Dragon Ball looks so much better. No, it did not. I refer you to the picture of Goku deciding to kill himself to save the world from Cell. Okay, his neck and head are ridiculously out of proportion with the rest of his body. His hand is like really weird. It looks terrible, and that is a keyframe. That is a main moment. That is a big scene. That's not just like some kind of one frame in a really fast-moving like fight scene like it was in Dragon Ball Super. It's like a whole massive monumental moment in the series that they made look weird. And it's like, the fight scenes need to look fast. I wouldn't be surprised if during that fight between Goku and Beerus they actually upped the frame rate instead of the usual 24, because it did look a bit like it was going a little bit faster than what we were used to. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, and that would also explain why it kind of looked a bit off and why it didn't look like what we were expecting. Because yes, sure, it didn't look as good as it did in the movie. That's a movie. The budget for Battle of Gods was massive. It was government funded. The government of Japan knew how much the West loved about Dragon Ball, and so they funded, like, personally, the movie so that it would look as good as possible and be amazing, like, I guess, like, cultural tourism stuff. I don't really know what they're expecting from it. It's a film that most people probably watched online illegally. I mean, I bought the DVD, but I did watch it online first. I mean, I don't really feel guilty about that because I'm in the UK and we don't get the fancy cinema releases that the Americans get, and I'm not Japanese, so I don't get all of that awesome stuff in my own country. So it kind of ends up being like I either watch it online or I don't really get to watch it. Or I can install a VPN and maybe watch something on Crunchyroll, but that's just too much hassle. Fuck that.
This is just irritating.
But yeah, I don't get all the hate around it. Yeah, sure, it looks a little bit awkward. It doesn't look crystal clear like it did in the movie. But it's still good. Like, all these people moaning about it, like, they either haven't watched it or they're just jumping on the hype because that's the popular opinion. And I think that's just stupid because it's really well animated. It's really pretty. It looks really good. I love the kind of new finalized art style that Akira Toriyama has come up with for Dragon Ball, rather than how in DBZ it just changed every arc and looked almost like entirely different between the beginning and the end of the series. It now kind of looks more unified. It looks more normal, and I really, really like it. I really think it's really good, and I can't wait for more of it. And I can almost guarantee that the reason it doesn't look quite up to par recently compared to before is because in the next few episodes there's going to be a massive, massive event. And we know what that event is. It's going to be Goku becoming a Super Saiyan God. That's what it's going to be. We know that. That's quite obvious. So I don't know why people be so upset, because it's going to be amazing. It's going to look incredible because they're saving up their budget for that. Because believe it or not, despite Toei obviously owning like the rights to the One Piece anime and all sorts of other anime, I don't really know how many they actually do own. They own a hell of a lot, and they make a hell of a lot of very, very popular, very long-running anime series that make them a hell of a lot of money. But I would say they're probably, if not the most well-off, the second or third most well-off Japanese animation studio. Obviously there are Western animation studios who are worth more, like the Disney Animation Studio and DreamWorks and things like that. But Toei is definitely up there. They are most certainly very, very, what's the word? Experienced and very well off in terms of budget. But even they have to like manage it a little bit. I heard like recently, like the average anime episode will take about $300,000 to make. $300,000, and that's just the average normal one. Imagine how much something like Dragon Ball Super, which they're really putting a lot of effort and money into because of how popular it is and how big it is. Imagine how much that's going to cost. It wouldn't surprise me if that costs almost $1 million an episode. But they're going to be making that back because, you know, why wouldn't they? It's Dragon Ball. They're going to be getting a load of stuff back from that. They're getting so many people watching it, and the movies are doing incredibly, incredibly well. they're going to be making money, but they're going to be putting that money in. There is no way that they're not going to be putting that money in. So what I don't get is why people are moaning because it's not quite perfect. I mean, it's not going to be. It's hand drawn. Yeah, sure, it's done on a computer. It's done digitally. But it's hand drawn. Why is Piccolo here? Hello, Piccolo. Oh well. Let's go and do another parallel quest. You know, it's drawn by some people with a graphics tablet on a computer. That's literally what it is. Like, I don't know why people are so angry about it, why it's so upsetting to people. It's normal. It's every animation ever. It's not that bad. You're just seeing a few frames and people are like, oh god, oh no, it looks terrible. Like, the biggest one I've seen probably the most frequently would be there's a picture of Goku as Super Saiyan 3 and his jaw looks really out of proportion, his mouth is really small and it looks stupid. That is literally a one frame clip in the middle of his transformation. The very next frame looks perfectly normal. But for some reason, it just looks weird because people single out that one frame and are like, oh no, look at it, looks bad, and that, you know, that gathers like a lot of hate, and it really shouldn't, because it's not bad. It's good. It still looks incredibly pretty and incredibly well animated, and the colors are great. It's fantastic, and I really don't get why people like have the need to moan about everything and jump on the bandwagon for something they don't really know about. I don't understand it myself at all, but I mean, it's just kind of, it's stupid, you know. I really don't get the hate around Dragon Ball Super right now. It's good. I mean, yes, sure, it doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look, you know, like the movies, and it's not going to, because it's not a movie. It's an episode that comes out on a weekly basis. I mean, I could quite easily make one YouTube video a year and put a year's worth of work into it, and it would look fantastic. It would be like hours long. It would be like super well edited. There'd be so much detail in it. But instead I put out one a day, or at least I try to, and therefore it's not as good. Than like 10 minutes long, and they normally have like some kind of weird bug towards the to do with the editing and stuff. That's the whole point. It's an episode. It's episodic. It's going to look different from episode to episode, and it's a whole team of like 10 people drawing it on a weekly basis, and they're worked to their fucking bones. They are working their asses off for it. It's insane how hard animators have to work to make those things, especially in Japan, where their work ethic is very different from here in the West, where they have to work much harder in order to earn just the same amounts of money. And I mean, for a series like Dragon Ball Super, they're going to be working them especially hard because they want it to be as good as possible. And I know people are saying, but it's not that good. It really is. It really looks great. And if you don't believe me, watch the episode. It looks fantastic. It's just all these people see these one-off kind of frames just look a bit not quite there, and they think, oh god, no, the whole show is a sham. Let's make all these like surveys and stuff to make the animators change and make it look like how we dreamed it for the last 20 years. And yeah, I understand that. I understand you want it to be as good as possible because it's something you care a lot about and have done for most of your life. You know, I understand that. I really do, because I am exactly the same. I want it to be as good as physically possible. But at the same time, it very well is. Like, it's just people being really nitpicky about things they don't quite understand and saying, oh yeah, but it's bad because I saw this post and it made it look a bit derpy. So it's not bad. Get over it. So I'm going to end my rant there because I'm starting to repeat myself, and I don't like repeating myself when it comes to those kind of things because it feels like I don't really have enough to say on the matter other than what I've already said. So I'm going to leave it where it is and just say that Dragon Ball Super is great. The animation is actually superb. It's just a bunch of people spreading like almost propaganda-like pictures about it. and saying, "Oh no, it's terrible. Look at this." It's really not. Just like it's an animation. It has its ups and it has its downs. It's give and take, but it's not bad by any means. Like it's very well animated and it's got a very high budget and that's very clear, and it's doing very, very well for itself. And I can't wait to see the rest of it. I will plan to do a review at the end of the Battle of Gods arc and every consequential arc afterwards. But other than that, I haven't really been watching any other anime apart from Battle of Gods. There are a few that I do plan on watching and a load from last season that I plan on watching. And when I do, I'll be doing reviews of them too. Other than that, I guess I can do a little update whilst I'm fighting Goku here about my channel and what's happening now that I'm back. My Let's Play project thing will be starting as soon as my microphone arrives. I have no idea when that will be, but hopefully soon so I can start on that. There will be TF2 videos all the time. I'm going to try and get back to daily content again, especially when the Let's Play is up and running. Fallout 4 is coming out in a couple months' time. When that does, I will be playing that. Also, I bought a bunch of games recently, and I might be playing them. Don't know when, don't know why, or anything really, but I might play them. So who knows? But that's all going to come up in the near future. Hopefully before September, I will start it. If not, then I will in September. But yes, I have been Shiro. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a bit of a rant, really. I don't know how long this has been, but it's a video nonetheless, so thank you for watching. If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe. I will make more. Let's just speak to Yamcha. I'm not going to train with Yamcha because I can kick his ass. So, yeah. How do you do those? There we go. Goodbye. There is a Shvi and a Russian person. There we go. I got another one.